Hello, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm doing great, Latasha. How are you? Thanks for having me
I'm
on.
No, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. So I just want to let you know one thing that really stood out to me about you is your fun jacket that you have in your LinkedIn profile. Like that was really fun for me and it caught my eye and I was like, this guy, he's definitely the fun one. So, is that really what the vibe you're trying to give out, or was that just a jacket that you have in your closet with other ones that were, kind of look similar?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the vibe that I'm trying to give out, and like I'm in sales. I'm in the tech industry, and on LinkedIn, there's millions. There's literally millions of people on LinkedIn, and they most of them all just have regular business attire, business casual type of clothes. You go to a conference or an event, and pretty much everybody there just has like regular business casual attire, suits and dresses and stuff, and everybody kind of looks the same. So it helps to stand out, and then it sparks a conversation. Like then instead of just this boring conversation, oh hi, what's your name? What do you do? It's like, oh cool, yeah, look at that suit. Where'd you like? I've had so many conversations where the conversation starts where people says, oh, where did you get that suit? And that's like, where'd you get it? Like what's it called? Like it just starts that, and then that's a more fun conversation than just like, oh, what do you do? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I try to be fun. I've done stand up comedy at different open mics and stuff like that, and anything you can do to just like find something fun in life, and kind of not make life so boring and monotonous and tedious, and you know um, got to make it fun, right?
No, yes, and I love that.
hmm
I love your vibe. I love the energy that you're giving right now. Like it's really fun. So,
hmm
I'm guessing you are that guy. I mean, I know that if I saw you at a meeting, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sit next to him because he's gonna be the fun guy and he's gonna
Yep.
make this meeting fun, and I'm not gonna
hmm
like try to keep myself from falling asleep. So are you that? Is that the guy that you are at meetings too, the fun one, and just keep everything moving?
Yeah, I try. Yeah, I try to keep things light and and fun and entertaining. And if I'm on like a meeting with other people at work, like I'll try to just like randomly like make a joke at some point and just try to keep things fun and entertaining so things aren't too boring for sure.
Yes, I love that. So
hmm
tell me some more about you. I know you mentioned that you used to do stand-up comedy.
hmm
So I'm sure that was fun. I actually just saw, and he slipped my mind, but he was doing stand-up comedy, and some guy got really upset with him, like,
hmm
like just started like going, talking back and not saying nice things to him, and I was like,
hmm
wow. And someone said, "You're never gonna win with a comedian. Just leave it alone. just leave it alone and keep going."
hmm
So, how was that for you? And what made you one want to get into doing stand up comedy, and two, what is it that got you out of it, and what you do now?
Yeah, so I've always been into comedy, like even when I was a kid and like when I was in high school and college and stuff like that, just was drawn to comedians and like funny shows, funny movies, that's always been kind of my thing. Like I would much rather watch a funny movie instead of a horror movie. That's just like
Yeah,
how I
no,
am.
I
I'm like,
know.
yeah, that's okay. I don't really want to see like somebody getting scared and trying to avoid getting murdered. Like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I
And yeah, this has kind of been my personality. And then in college, I was in a sketch comedy group. And I went to the University of New Hampshire. There's actually been some folks at the improv group at the University of New Hampshire that have gone on to work at Saturday Night Live and been on
oh,
SNL. And so I actually like auditioned for that one called Improv Anonymous, didn't get it, and then for the people that got cut from that, we formed a sketch comedy group. Instead of improv, and I did that in college. And then I just kind of like over time worked on my stand up routine and like refining it. And like the first couple shows that I did, I was like really bad. But then you just kind of like anything, you get better at it.
mhm.
And people oftentimes will say, "Oh man, I can't imagine doing that, like standing up." on stage in front of all those people. Like I'd be too nervous. And um, like I was too in the beginning, the first like 2 or 3 shows, I was like, was like really, really nervous. But then after that, like you just kind of get used to it. And you just get used to it, and the nerves aren't really there as much. And it's just like with anything, you get used to something and you get in a rhythm. Like after COVID, I stopped. When COVID happened, I wasn't doing as much stand up at like different places during COVID. So then I lost that rhythm. So then I probably wouldn't be I'd have to get back into it and like get back into rhythm. So it's just like with anything, you get used to it, and then you get more comfortable with it. You're in rhythm, you're doing it consistently, and then it just becomes like easier and second nature to you.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
how did you deal with like stress from that? I mean, I know that it all seems fun,
Hmm.
but I'm sure there was a lot of stress with that. Like you have to come up with the jokes and what you're going to talk about, right? So
Hmm.
how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit stressful, like just kind of getting up there and just having all these people, like look at you, and they're just like there's pressure from that. But luckily, I just kind of had a decent amount of like material that over time that I just kind of wrote some stuff, and I had to like edit and just kind of practice the delivery and practice how I'm gonna say certain bits. Luckily, I had like a few years in my life when I was going through things where like just naturally funny things and funny situations were like happening and mostly in my social life, not really in my like work life as much. But I was like going out a lot with friends, a lot, on like weekends and even sometimes during the week. And just funny, like naturally funny things would happen in those situations. And that's when, and this was when I was single before I met my fiance now, and before I had kids and stuff like that. And I was like going out a lot, and like that was like most of my material was like funny things that happen in those situations. But like with a lot of comedy, sometimes it is a little bit like you kind of fabricate it a little bit and you exaggerate what really happened to make it sound a little bit funnier.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
and like I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that. Like I'm sure like you watch other comedy shows on people on TV, or you go to a live show, and what they say, either it's not true at all, or like they kind of they stretch it, they stretch the truth a little bit. But a lot of it like really happened, and I might just only stretch it a little bit. But there was like 4 or 5 years there where it was like, I sometimes joke with people where it's like my life was basically like a sitcom, and so that was just kind of, the jokes kind of wrote themselves at that point. So
Well, that's easy. That was good, huh? Like you didn't
yeah,
really have
yeah, it was fun.
to stress too
Mhm.
much or try to think of things to be funny. Your life in that moment was funny, so that worked out good for you.
Yeah. But it
Um,
also like some of those moments, they were created from like the situation that I was in, but
yeah.
also some of it was like my personality. Like I would be in a situation and then I'd say something to somebody and then they would react in a certain way. So I just kind of, have a personality that's like when I'm out with people, hanging out and in social situations, that's kind of like Larry David, where I kind of will see us, I'll make like, I'll say something that'll get a reaction and get people, that'll just kind of do, something naturally kind of funny, that creates more, taking a situation that's kind of funny, but not really, but then saying something or doing something. And now all of a sudden, like people are like cracking up. You just have a certain personality like that.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you have a fiance and kids now. So being the fun guy, how does that how does that work with the home life? Like, are you still like the fun guy, or do you have to switch it up and be a more strict, not so fun individual?
Yeah, I mean, there's a balance, that you have to find, and like I think it helps any situation in life, whether you're at work, or at home with your family, or out with friends, to be able to kind of have to be able to just like all of a sudden make people laugh and loosen up the situation, and
Yeah.
make that situation a little bit less tense, and just kind of make like a little funny joke or say something that's kind of funny or quirky, that can get people loosened up and laugh and drawn to you a little bit. So, but one thing that I have kind of struggled with a little bit over the years, that I feel like I'm doing a better job now, but of is finding that balance. Like at one point, I remember, like, this is like when I was in college and maybe a little bit when I graduated college. I could sense when I was out with friends that they would kind of like sometimes roll their eyes or whatever. They'd be like, "All right, Jeremy, yeah, we get it." It was like I was like too over the top and would make jokes too much, and like it was like too much, Jeremy. Like,
Yeah.
take it easy, like, yeah, we get it, and like sometimes I'd say the same joke like five, too many times too. They're like, dude, you've already said that one like 10 times, like, so like, and that's like, I was only like 20 years old or 22. Like, we all look back at ourselves when we were only like 17, between ages like 17 and 22, and like we're usually very different people now. Like, you kind of mature and you grow up a little bit and learn, oh wait, where's that balance, of not dominating the conversation too much and letting other people talk, and like not making jokes too much, kind of thing, and find that balance. Yeah.
So, with what you do now in life, do you still struggle with that balance, or do you not so much? Because now, I mean, obviously you're older,
Mhm.
your life at home has changed, and your job has now, I don't know if your job changed or if you just, you finished school and now you're working with your degree that you had, but do you still have a hard time finding that balance, like keeping it like serious and in serious mode, especially having the type of personality that you have? Like, I'm sure that could be kind of difficult sometimes, but maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, I remember like a manager or a boss saying to me, something along the lines of, like, I was actually trying to get a promotion at work. I was like in a position where it was like a sales position, and like selling to other companies. But like I wasn't a manager. I was just like an individual person, individual contributor kind of position. And I was trying to get a manager promoted to a manager role. And the manager, like at one point, said to me that they said, Jeremy, like, me and the other folks on the leadership team think that sometimes you joke around too much, and you don't take, you got to take things more seriously, and that was like, 5-10 years ago. So like that, like, helped me to figure things out where that balance is. And and like, you know and then but now it's funny, like now sometimes, the people that I work with, like my CEO at my company, sometimes he says to me, Jeremy, we need you to not be so serious. So it's like, now it's like, I feel like now, over the last year or two, it's kind of, the pendulum has swung too much the other way, where, at least like where I'm at work, in my work life, maybe I'm too serious and I got to loosen up more. And like, it used to be too much the other way, too much joking, and it's it is kind of tricky to find where that balance is, and depending on what situation you're in too, whether it's a social situation or at work. And if you're at work, sometimes like it's okay to joke around a little bit more, but sometimes you're meeting with a customer, like they just want to hear the proposal, like just give
Yeah.
them the proposal. Like, that's not really the time to joke around. You're talking to a CEO of a company. But other times, if you're on a call with a bunch of coworkers, there's no customers there, it's okay to loosen up a little bit, and just kind of hang out, and let your personality out a little bit more.
I love that. And I love that it's unfortunate that you were told to bring it back some, because, I think now in the world, it's people want to just see real. People want to just like not be so serious, and to be relaxed and to have fun, maybe not like have the jokes 24/7, right? But at least be around someone that's not always so serious and not always
Hmm.
like straight to the point and this is how it's got to go.
Hmm.
But also realizing there are times where you have to be that way, right? Like, when there's a serious situation happening, it's not a time to make light of anything. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that you were able to find that balance. And now people are wanting you to be yourself more. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So what is it that you do now? Like, I know you said sales, right?
Hmm.
Which I just want to say that alone is probably a very stressful job to have. Like doing
Hmm.
any type of sales is something that I would not ever want to imagine, because I feel that is just like, not only do you have to have like the personality of like you, the fun, like, hey guys, look, I have this new phone. You guys want it? I don't know. Anyways, but
Hmm.
like you have to, have a fun personality, and people want to engage and talk to you. And then, here, let's go and buy this $80,000 car. Like how does that,
Hmm.
and I don't even know if it's car. I'm just making that up right now. I'm just saying, like,
Hmm.
for me, when I think about sales, I feel like that would be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, and it's hard to deal with and stuff. But one thing I think that might be helpful to people watching this is I kind of have a unique journey that I've taken to where I am now. Actually, the co-founder of a company now, co-founder and VP of business development. But it's kind of funny, like getting to where I'm at now from where I started. I got laid off from like five different sales jobs in the beginning of my career, like getting out of college. So one thing I think people could benefit from is like just don't give up, keep at it, and like keep your head up. I could have like I literally was in a meeting with a recruiter, somebody that place like a job placement agency, recruiting agency type thing, and they said to me, what do you want to do? um, and I said to them, I don't want to do sales anymore. Like, I don't want to do sales. I told them, I was like, do you have any like any jobs in like marketing or HR or something? I was like, I don't want to do. And then, cause like, I had some like bad experiences and some trials and tribulations. And like those first few sales jobs when I got out of college, like I didn't have a lot of success and a lot of failure. And I just wanted to do something else. But I stuck with it. Like I ended up going to a different, not that agency, but a different agency soon after that, that like a job placement recruiting type of agency. And they like the only jobs that they were placing people at was sales jobs. And I was like, I just took it because at that time I had to pay rent.
Yeah.
I had to pay the bills, I had to pay rent, and like the only other job that I had was working in the deli at a grocery store. Just getting like $9 an hour, and I was like, sure, whatever, I'll just take it and see what happens. Um, and at that job, I was like, whatever. All right, it's a sales job. I'll give it one more try. I'll give it another try. Like I got to do something to pay bills. And it just so happened that I had a pretty good manager, a really good manager that helped me out at that job. Um, and I was able to basically it was a job where you cold call people and try to book appointments and set appointments. And then I'm setting the appointment for somebody else. They then try to sell whatever their product is. And I was having some pretty good success, like getting into conversations, but I wasn't able to like close on getting enough appointments. And my manager took me into the one of the offices, and it's like a conference room. He played the recording of a few of my calls that I had. And it was kind of like a coach of a team breaking down game film with a player, and he would like play the recording and then stop it and then ask me questions about it. And because certain things that I was saying, like he was trying to tweak them, change them a little bit. Um, and then like based on what the other person was saying, if I had picked up on certain things, then I could say something else. Or they were showing interest, they were showing buying signals, but I wasn't picking up on them, I was missing them. And then also when it came to close on getting that appointment, I was kind of just like being too soft and like letting them off the hook and being like, yeah, okay, sure, well, have a good day, instead
Yeah.
of being like, well, it sounds like you're interested in XYZ, we can help with ABC. How does next week work for you to meet with one of our experts and dive into this deeper? If you're saying that with confidence, then all of a sudden I was getting a lot of meetings booked. Like, he just kind of helped me with some of those things, and then that month was the first month that I hit my quota. It was one of the best feelings that I've had in my life. I stayed until 5:30. It's like a 9 to 5 job. I stayed until 5:30 p.m. on a Friday because I was so determined to get that one more appointment booked, to get to, I think, like, it was, you take the number of days in the month, number of days in a business month, and our quota was that number of days. Like, it was getting one appointment a day. So I think it was like, if there was 22 business days in a month, we had to get 22. So I got my 22nd appointment on the last day of the month on a Friday at 5:30 p.m. And I was like so happy. I was like, because it's coming from somebody who had failed, at 5 different sales jobs, and was like struggling to figure out what I was going to do with my career. I was like, to finally feel that success. And then after that, I either met my quota or exceeded it the next like 10 months in a row, and the next like 11 out of 12 months that I became the top rep at the whole company that had like 40 reps there. And that's why at that company, I was then in consideration to be a manager, to go back to what I was mentioning earlier, trying to get a manager role. But they were saying, oh, you got it joking around too much. Maybe like what happened was I was started to like get so much success, and I was like becoming the top rep, that I started to like let my personality out more and like
Yes.
joke around with it.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that kind of that launched my success in sales to the point where, I went to a different company, got a promotion there, then went somewhere else and got a promotion there, and became the first rep at my company to close $1 million in sales in 1 year. Um, so like the message is, keep at it, don't give up, keep your head up. Like, if you're doing something and like it's not working out at first, just keep at it, don't give up, keep your head up and stay at it. Because it might just be that you need to do that at a different company. I was struggling at those other companies, but I went to a different company, and all of a sudden it seemed to be a better fit. Things started to click. I started to have some success. Part of it was the company, but part of it was I started to just kind of grow and mature as a person and as a professional, and start to get enough experience in sales that it started to click and make sense for me. And also that manager really helped me out a lot to kind of help put the pieces together. And then the pieces of the puzzle all kind of clicked and came together. And I had this aha moment, like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I say this and then they say this. Then I booked that meeting. Oh my God, it's so easy now. I'm doing really well now. And then my confidence grew. And then I started to feel really good about myself. And then I kept like practicing even more and working at it even more, and like reading sales books and like going on LinkedIn and reading all these posts and articles about, different techniques and things that I can do better at sales to raise my game even higher and become even better at what I was doing. So that all kind of, I know I
No,
don't want to keep going on and on too much, but yeah.
no, it's fine. I love what you're sharing. I love your story. And I mean, yeah, for people that are listening, that's great. And that gives them, the point of don't give up, right? Like no
Mhm.
matter what it is that you're going through, giving up should not be an option. Like you got to stay in the fight so you can see the light. Like
Mhm.
you gotta keep going. And um, in those moments when you were feeling, or when you were feeling down, or when you weren't reaching sales like you wanted to, or when you were at that company that didn't want to, allow you to be you. What was your go-to? Like, what did you? Was there? I know for me, I God 100%. Like when I didn't understand things, when I was very confused, when things were not making sense and I didn't know what the lesson was that I was supposed to be learning, like I would definitely, you know, get my Bible out and have a conversation with God and look for him to show me the reason, right? So what was your did you have did you have a coach? Did you have, what was your thing that you went to keep you going?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just like had to just my own self like wherewithal and just like like self confidence and just kind of like keeping at it. It was hard, but I think part of it too, like that was during the point in my life where it's funny, even though I was like struggling, like getting let go at all these different companies and just bouncing around and not really finding my like path, my career path, even though it's like struggling my work life. That was during the time of my life where my personal life, I was like, it was like a sitcom. It was like
That was
a
the funny
sitcom in my
moments.
personal life, and maybe I was having too much fun. Maybe I was having too much fun in my personal life, and just like this, rollicking social life, like going out all the time and like being this like this larger than life figure that was always like the life of the party kind of thing. Maybe I was having too much fun in my personal life, and that kind of effect made it so maybe I wasn't taking my work life seriously enough, and I was only 23, 24, 25 years old, whatever. And some people, they just kind of need to get older and mature a little bit more. But
Yes.
that kind of helped, though. I was having a lot of fun. I was having a lot of fun with my friends and my family a little bit, and also at that time I had another job as well that on the like a side job where that helped to just kind of like take my mind off things, and like it was like more of a passion project, where I was covering local high school sports, local football and basketball all around the state of New Hampshire that I live in. I had my own website for like 10 years covering all those sports. So it was kind of like that was kind of an outlet for me where that was fun. It was fun. I didn't make much money. I had my own website for like 9 years. I didn't make much. I barely made any money at all, but it was fun.
It's fun.
Because I was covering these sports and writing about them and broadcasting sports, and I would go to a game and all the coaches and players and fans knew who I was. They'd come up to me and be like, "Hey, Jeremy, how you doing? Thanks so much for the coverage." So that kind of helped to balance things out. I was having fun doing that. I was having fun going out all the time with my social life, with my friends and everything. So that kind of just helped to keep me from going too crazy when things were struggling quite a bit in my work life.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you had an outlet somewhere, and that
Hmm.
it was a fun outlet, like it wasn't a stressful or, give you much anxiety or anything like that. You were having fun doing it, and that was your outlet. It was
Hmm.
healthy. It was a healthy outlet. So
Hmm.
that's good. So what is it that where are you at today? Like, I know you had mentioned like, working with CEOs and doing your own thing. Like, so all of that through your journey, where has that landed you today?
Yeah, so it's funny. Like I mentioned, a couple times, being in a sales role and trying to book appointments and set appointments and stuff. So it's kind of ironic. This company that I'm a co-founder and VP of Business Development, is actually kind of like taking whole that whole industry of salespeople trying to cold call people and like set appointments and stuff like that. It's kind of flipping that around, because like nobody really likes to get cold calls, right? Nobody likes to get cold calls and have like salespeople reach out to them on LinkedIn or reach out to them on
Oh
email
yeah.
and just like spam them. They just ignore and delete all these emails that they get. So we have this app where you pay the person. You pay the person. Nobody wants to get cold calls or cold emails, but people like money, right? And so
Yeah.
what if, every who doesn't like money? Well, There's probably something wrong with
Right?
if you don't like money. And so that's the whole model, is that a salesperson, instead of just like sending spam and cold calling somebody, they send them money. And that person gets paid if they just take a couple minutes out of their day and respond to that salesperson's pitch. And they don't have to take a meeting with them; they can just respond. But that's in essence, it's like an exchange of payment for a response. Because if you picture like a busy CEO of a company that's got hundreds of employees, right now he's getting reached out to probably like at least 50 times a day by a salesperson. But if now there's a paywall, that now all those salespeople, if they have to pay, say, $50, or $80 or whatever it is to send their pitch to that person, now they're only going to get reached out to. They're only going to get like one or two pitches a week. So that makes it a lot easier for that CEO. It's easier for them to manage, and anytime they respond, they get paid. And the salesperson is getting a response every single time, instead of just having all their emails go to spam and get deleted and have people hang up on them when they cold call them. Now all the people they reach out to, they actually want to get reached out to because they're getting paid. So it's kind of a better experience for everybody. But yeah, that's, it's called Pitchfire, and that's what we're
That's right.
trying to build
Pitch
and get it off the ground and go viral.
I love that. I love the name Pitchfire.
Mhm.
And so I'm guessing, is that is there a website or a link that we could use?
Yeah, it's just pitchfire.com if anybody wants to go on there and check it out, and try it out. And it's free to make an account. The only charge is if you're a salesperson to, pay, the fee to the person you're trying to reach out to. But for people that, if somebody's like if they're the one that receives on the receiving end of salespeople reaching out to them, for those people, it's free to use. So, mhm.
Oh, I love that. So I guess I want to understand the other side of that. Like, how do you get the CEOs to agree to? I mean, yes, I understand with money, but how do you get them to even look at your app, right? Like, how, for me, if I wanted to come on and find a coach to work, in my business, how would you get me to come on, right? Does that, you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, and that's something that me and my co-founder and our team, we're always trying to figure that out and discuss the best ways of doing that. But it's a combination of inbound and outbound. So inbound is like different stuff to get people to our website, and then just kind of sign up organically, whether they hear about it. They see stuff on social media. We do a lot on social media, LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Google ads and stuff like that, to get people to see it and see an ad, or see a blog post or a video, or see a podcast that we're on. And then they go to the website, or we do webinars. And so hopefully it just kind of spreads the word. People hear about it and go to the website, find out. But it's a combination of that with, sometimes I'll reach out to people cold and tell them about it. And I'll joke around and be like, oh, I know it's ironic, haha, like we're trying to make it so nobody has to there's no more, cold calls and cold emails, but haha, like that's how I'm reaching out to you right now. Because we have to do a little bit of that in the beginning to get
Yeah.
enough people using it. And then if we have enough users, then, eventually there won't be any more of cold, anything.
Right.
It'll just be people getting paid, and then people getting a response to their sales pitch. But we'd have
Okay.
to do a little bit of that in the beginning, to get it off the ground, get people using it.
Yeah.
But
It
it's
sounds
also
like it would be
some
very
of it
freeing.
too is like reaching out to people that we know, just like working our network.
Hmm.
Me and my co-founder, we both have about 15,000 connections and followers on LinkedIn. And so, sometimes it's just like reaching out to somebody that we know. If we know somebody and they're a CEO at a company with 300 employees, okay, hey Bob, like, can we talk about getting? And we'll try to get all 300 of their employees on the platform, and then we kind of just like, then it'll maybe grow from there. Maybe that CEO tells some of their friends about it, and it grows from there.
I love that. I love it. So pitchfire.com is the website. Is there a way individuals can reach out to you other than LinkedIn? Like, do you have your personal website, or do you have like a personal platform that you like to use for people to reach out to you?
I don't really have like a personal website. It's something, I'd like to I started to build a while ago, but it's hard to just do that on your own. Like I know there's companies that do stuff like that for people. But people can just reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can, if you just type in my name in LinkedIn, you can find me, or you can email me at jeremy@pitchfire.com. Mm-hmm.
That was Jeremy at pitchfire.com.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. So do you have any other insight that you would like to share with the audience before we come to a close?
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered a lot here, but it's just, I would just like to go back to the point I was making before. Like, if you're trying to find your way in your career, like find something, I mentioned like doing my website where I was covering high school sports. Like that's what I wanted to do. I went to college to be like a sports broadcaster, and so like follow that's my advice to people is if that's what you want to do, give it a shot, try it. Like I submitted applications. I applied lots and lots of places to be a sports broadcaster. Didn't get any of full-time jobs, started my own website, did some stuff like for different companies part-time, started my own website. But like I gave it a shot, like I had my website going for like 9 or 10 years, but I barely made any money at all doing it. But at least I tried, and found that, hey, like this was fun. I did it for like 9, 10 years. Like it was fun and rewarding, but I barely made any money doing it. And it was like all this work nights and weekends where it got to the point where I wanted to be spending time on nights and weekends with friends and family and stuff. But like I gave it a shot, and then I did the sales thing, and I kept at it. I was about to give up on sales, but then I just kept at it a little bit more, and like figured, hey, maybe a different company will be a better fit. If you have a different manager, or if you're selling a different product that might work better based on your personality and your skills, might be better suited in a different industry. So you keep trying different things until you find what works. And if you try so many of them and you still aren't successful, okay, maybe sales isn't for you, or maybe whatever. Maybe if you're in marketing, maybe marketing isn't for you. But just try enough times in different industries and different types of companies with different managers. And if it still doesn't work, then try a different line of work. But that's my advice: is have that stick to itiveness, and resilience, because there is that light at the end of the tunnel if you keep at it.
Yes, that
Hmm.
seems to be the one thing that's hard for most of us to always get to or remember, is that there is a light at the end, right? You just got to
Hmm.
keep going, and
Yep.
it can be hard, it can be stressful. You just got to stay with it, even in the worst of the moments.
Hmm.
If anything, you grow, right? You grow, and you learn, and yeah, you just keep growing. So just not giving up and staying in that mindset is what is definitely very important for people to do.
Yeah, and your personal life too. I mean, like I am engaged now and have a son, and like, but my fiance, we didn't start dating until I was like 28, 29 years old. So like I've talked to some people that are like 22, 23, 24, 20. They could even be 26 or 27, and they're like, oh geez, I'm dating these people, like it's not working, like things don't seem to work, like I'll never find anybody. But stick to it, keep at it, even with that too. Anything in life, you just got to keep positive and stay at it.
Yeah, that is very true.
Mhm.
I think I had mentioned earlier, I was a single mom for 17 years.
Mhm.
And so with my work life and then my home life, like it was all work, my kids, because that's what I knew. I had a system, I
Mhm.
had a schedule, like that's what we did. And so it wasn't until, obviously that my kids were older, that I
Mhm.
was able to think about dating. And then,
Mhm.
you know, to think of having someone around my kids all the time, finding
Mhm.
that
Oh
balance and that
yeah,
trust, like that's hard. But
it's hard. Yeah.
luckily I was blessed, and I found a good guy. But that wasn't until I was 39. So you know what?
Hmm.
Don't
Hmm.
give up in your personal life. Like if it's not
Yep.
working, then just, change what you're doing a little bit and just keep going. So
Hmm.
definitely, yeah, keep in it.
Yep.
But I really have had so much fun talking to you. You really are just like a ball of fun and like energy. So thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And if anyone wants to reach out to him or, take a look at his website, it is pitchfire.com.
Yep.
And again, that sounds really, really fun too. And like a good thing that you have going there. So good luck in your journey forward with that. I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll all
Appreciate it.
come together for you. But until next time, everyone, have fun and stay safe.